Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video, I wanted to do a fragrance video, so I am going to do my top 5 favorite fragrances for spring. It's finally springtime. I think we're a couple of days away from the official first day of spring, but it's finally starting to warm up. I think I've decided that spring is my favorite season. I was just, driving around and like children were outside playing in their front yards, like the birds were chirping. It just feels like life is coming back after like this very long winter, this very cold winter. I normally don't live in places where there's 4 seasons, so this is very new to me, but actually having a spring is nice. So I thought I would just sit down and film some of my favorite fragrances that I wear during the springtime. Now, just a disclaimer, I like floral fragrances. So if you are not a floral person, because it is springtime, this is not the video for you. I'm not really into like smoky leather. So this is going to be very floral heavy since it is springtime. Very groundbreaking, I know, but just so you know, if you like florals, you'll probably like my recommendations. If not, this video is probably not for you. But with all that out of the way, if you like fragrance videos, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, stick around, and let's just get started talking about these fragrances. All right. So I don't have any of these in a particular order except for the very last one. That is my favorite. So just make sure you stick to the end to find out what that one is. But the first one that I want to go over is this one here. And this is Jimmy Choo Blossom. So I actually quite like a lot of the Jimmy Choo fragrances that I've smelled before. I think I have just the original Jimmy Choo, and then I used to have the I Choose You, but I actually gave that to my friend for her wedding. She liked that one so much, I just gave her my bottle. But for the most part, all the Jimmy Choo fragrances have been really nice. This one in particular, I think I just picked up on sale at Ulta. Like it was a really great price and I decided to pick it up. So this fragrance here, it is categorized as a fruity floral with top notes of red berries and raspberries, middle notes of sweet pea, which normally I don't love sweet pea. Like sweet pea at Bath & Body Works is not my journey at all. But because this has sandalwood and white musk as the base, it really, you don't smell the sweet pea as much. I mostly smell the berries and the white musk if I had to pick 2. This fragrance is just, it's happy, it's bubbly, it's joyful. And I just think it's the perfect spring fragrance. This kind of, I'm not a very visual person, but for some reason, like when I see the bottle, when I smell this fragrance, I picture like champagne with frozen cranberries, like a cocktail kind of fragrance. That's what I mean by like bubbly. It's just a very happy perfume. This is definitely more of a daytime perfume rather than a nighttime perfume. Just because it's so happy and bubbly, it kind of gives like daytime vibes, not really just sensual leaning into the night. So that's what I wear this for, and this is my #1 pick. I see this go on sale at Ulta quite frequently, so I would just wait for a sale and pick it up then. Now, the next fragrance I have to talk about is actually one that I had a sample of, and right when I used it, I think I talked about it in my empties, I immediately added it to my wish list, and that is the Vince Camuto Floreale. I think I'm saying that right. And this is, first of all, a stunning bottle, probably one of my favorite bottles. And they have a whole line, it looks like, with this really just intricate top design. I just think it's so beautiful. Just like a classic, elegant bottle design. I don't know, something about this really attracts me. And this is just happiness in a bottle. This is kind of what I wanted Marc Jacobs Daisy to smell like. That is not one of my favorite fragrances. I own it. It's somewhere back there behind me. And I keep it around for the bottle and for reference, but it's not a fragrance that I ever reach for. And this is what I wish that fragrance smelled like. It's just happiness in a bottle. It does lean more fruity, I would say. This is still categorized as a fruity floral fragrance, but I smell the fruitiness more than the floral. Even though this is named Floreale, It's a little confusing, but it is what it is. The notes for this, so the top notes are pink pepper, which I smell a little bit. When it's a very pink pepper heavy fragrance, I don't love that. The rest of these notes really round that out though, and the pink pepper doesn't really come out that much towards the end. Top notes, so pink pepper, pomelo, that's what I smell the most, is that grapefruit. The middle notes is where you get that floral, so pink peony, orchid, and then the base notes is vanilla and cedar. I don't really smell the cedar too much. Primarily, I smell the pomelo, the peony, and the vanilla is really interesting in this. I think the vanilla with the pink pepper is what's making me like pink pepper a little bit more than I normally do, because those pink pepper scents, I don't know what it is about those. Like, they don't smell good to me. They actually smell quite unpleasant whenever I've smelled anything that's just named pink pepper. So that with the grapefruit, it's so fresh. And again, like, happiness just comes to mind. Again, this is more of like a daytime fragrance for me. You could get away with wearing it at night more than the Jimmy Choo. And it kind of gives me, like, if I had to find a mix, it very much has like Lancome La Vie's Belle vibes with like a drop or two of YSL Black Opium. So the Black Opium, just like that little bit of it, makes it lean more towards maybe being a nighttime perfume, but I would still probably only wear this during the day and evening, not really that much into the night. But those are kind of like the two that I would really categorize this as. And I'm really interested to continue to try and explore Vince Camuto fragrances, because I didn't even know until I tried that sample that this brand had fragrances. Really enjoy this, and yeah, I'm gonna be picking up more fragrances for them, especially the bottle design just like tips it over the edge for me. This third fragrance is one that I also tried in a sample and I instantly knew I was going to purchase it, and that is the No. 1 de Chanel L'Eau Rouge. So this is more of a water fragrance. It is not like an eau de parfum. It's very, very soft. It's still categorized as a fruity floral, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I'm just warning you, and I really just want to emphasize that this is almost leaning on body spray. It's that soft. It is not long lasting. However, there's something about this that I really like. Again, I talked about this in my empties and I'm just laughing because I didn't realize that this was part of Chanel's, the No. 1 de Chanel line, like their clean line. I thought like, okay, everyone knows No. 5 de Chanel. That's a very iconic fragrance. Like, I guess maybe Chanel, in my mind, it just has like a bunch of fragrances that are numbered, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I was going on and on about that. And then I realized after the video that that is not the case. And I'm just dumb. So just so you know, Chanel does not have numbered fragrances. I did see that they had a number 17, but I don't know what the relationship is with their number system. There's just not like a consecutive numbers. This is, like I said, a fruity floral. It has red berries as the top notes and citrus, which I find very interesting. I think the citrus, for me, is what gives it that bordering clean powder scent. And then the middle notes is rose and jasmine, orange blossom. So the rose with the citrus, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's not like an overpower in the rose department, but you can very much smell it. I don't get too much of the orange. And then the base is musk and iris. So out of the three that I've talked about, I can smell the most amount of notes in this. I don't have like the best sense of smell, so take that also with a grain of salt. Like, I love fragrance and stuff, but I can't like pick out one scent unless I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can smell that. I can see how they're getting that. But out of all of them, like, I smell the citrus, the rose, the jasmine, the orange maybe, and then the iris. I don't really smell the red berries in this. For me, I would categorize it as like a clean citrusy scent rather than floral. I can see where they're going with the floral because of the notes in here, and I can pick them up. For me, it's more of a clean citrusy smell, and it's very soft. Like I said, not long lasting at all. There's just something about this that screams spring to me. I think I just picture like the sun's out, like you're drying your sheets outside. It's very fresh, clean, florally, but because of that laundry smell, I'm just picturing sheets outside. So that powdery, clean laundry scent with the flowers mixed in. That's what I picture with this. And even though it's not long lasting, I still enjoy wearing it. This still is also a daytime fragrance. There aren't really too many that stood out to me as being like a nighttime spring fragrance. I don't know. I don't know what I would pick for that. I maybe have one or two that you could get away with, but it doesn't scream nighttime to me. It's still daytime. Most of these do. So just know that when you sign up for this fragrance, it's not going to last long. And even though it's categorized as fruity floral, it's still very much like a clean powder scent with that rose mixed in. Now, my fourth fragrance might be a little bit of a conflicting opinion, an unpopular opinion. You'll just have to let me know down below in the comments because I am not smelling what it seems like other people are smelling, and I'm talking about Ellis Brooklyn B. So this is categorized as a warm and spicy scent with top notes of rum and Divana. I don't know what that is. Middle notes of honey, bran, and cinnamon. I for sure smell the honey and the cinnamon. And base notes of vanilla, cacao, and sandalwood. I for sure smell the vanilla. I do not smell the rum and cacao, which is why I think that I'm not getting that warm and spicy feeling to this. And I'm getting mostly like very gourmand, sweet, almost candy out of this. So it's very interesting to me. I saw a lot of people say that they would wear this in the fall time, but for me, this is again just like a spring scent because of the heavy honey notes. B is the perfect name. I've been trying just Ellis Brooklyn fragrances. I've been seeing a lot of traction with them on Instagram, etc. And I had so many Ulta points. It was ridiculous. So over a holiday, I ended up cashing them all out because Ulta only ships in the US and I don't live in the US. So there's no point in me like hoarding all these points. I just decided to get a bunch of fragrances that I had been interested in and kind of just be done with that. And I had my mom bring them over. She was visiting the States and she brought them back to me. So I picked up B. I also picked up the Vanilla Milk, which I know is really popular, West, and Sunfruit. I really want to pick up the Myth one and Salt. Those are kind of the two next ones that I plan on getting. But out of all of them, out of those four, B was the most spring and it's one of the most just unique in my collection. This is just going to be maybe a scent that smells different to everyone. Either you love it or hate it, depending on what you pick up, because I don't smell the rum. I don't smell the cacao. And I think if I did, I would not like this fragrance as much. I'm not really a chocolate person. I'm not really like a warm and spicy scent person. So the honey and the vanilla and the cinnamon is very, very prominent for me in this. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you own this and what you think of it, which season you would wear it in, because for me, I'm categorizing it as spring. And the very last fragrance that I have, my absolute favorite fragrance, I'm completely obsessed. This is probably a year-round fragrance, but I'm still gonna put it in the spring one, mostly because I wanna talk about it. And that is Prada's newest fragrance, Prada Paradoxe. You can see I've only had this like a month. Like I've used a significant amount, even though this is the smaller size. I've used this quite a bit. I really like it. This is categorized as an amber floral, and I think that it's a very feminine floral version of Prada candy. I mentioned this before in other fragrance videos. My sister loves Prada candy. Every year for her birthday, I buy her a fragrance, and normally I'm just restocking her Prada candy. I gotten it for her like 3 years in a row, and this launched right around her birthday. So I told her, you know, like I smelled this, I really like it. You know, I don't know if you'll like it because you like Prada candy. I don't really like Prada candy. So she went and she also smelled it and she fell in love with it. And that ended up being the fragrance I picked up for her birthday. So I just point that out because I feel like it's a very versatile fragrance where if you love really sweet scents, or if you're like me, you love more floral scents, like this is a good in-between, and it also has amber in it. So the notes for this, top notes are pear, tangerine, and bergamot. So very much fruity top notes, which it's not categorized as a fruity fragrance. Remember that. With middle notes of orange blossom, neroli, base notes of bourbon, vanilla, amber, and white musk. So the middle notes are really where you get that floral, and the base notes are really where you're getting that amber. I really pick up the neroli out of all of it, and the white musk, not really the bourbon and a little bit of the pear, not really the vanilla either. I've really just fallen hard for this fragrance. And when I was doing my research, writing down the notes for all of these fragrances, you know, I was kind of just seeing what other people thought. And I had to chuckle like just a little bit because a lot of people's reviews and thoughts on this fragrance was that it was a very just basic designer fragrance. So I wanted to say that because even though personally I love this fragrance and I think that I'll go through this entire small bottle and I will probably repurchased like the full size. That's how much I love this. And I don't purchase the full size bottle very often. A lot of people seem to think that this is a little bit of a basic fragrance. So keep that in mind if you're considering it. Go into Ulta, go into Sephora, smell this before purchasing it. But I really enjoy this. It gives me very similar vibes to YSL Libre, which I have right there, just without the lavender. And it also kind of reminds me of Valentino Voce Vive, which I also have somewhere behind me. So it's kind of like those, just a little bit less floral. I think if you don't love florals, this is a great one to go with if you kind of want to like just dip your toes in, as it's not overly florally. It really has like that musk and that amber, that bourbon, right? Bourbon, to really ground it and keep it kind of earthy. And then you have like those floral notes to give it that floralness. It's still more of a daytime fragrance. I just would wear it at night because I love it so much. And that's what I have to say about this. I think out of all of them, if I had to pick like the top two I would recommend, it would be this one, Prada Paradoxe, and then probably the Vince Camuto. I really enjoy this one a lot. I like all 5 of these. Obviously, that's why I'm recommending them. But just to narrow it down further, if I had to rank them, I think the Vince Camuto would be number 2. That one's just going to be the most floral out of all 5. I'm just looking over them to make sure I'm confident in that decision. And yes, it is the most floral out of all 5. Followed by Blossom, followed by Chanel, but I don't really think this is floral, and then obviously followed by the Bee. So that's kind of my thoughts on as far as like ranking them floral wise. That's just where these all stand if I was to really just talk about their scale of how floral they are, because this is very floral heavy recommendations list. That's going to complete this video though, talking about the top 5 fragrances I would recommend for springtime. Let me know down below in the comments which fragrances you love for spring, if you love spring as much as I am, if you're happy for it to be nice and warm outside. I'm also excited to just talk about summer fragrances because beach fragrances, that's a top 3 for me. I have quite a few fragrances that I can talk about that are very beachy if you're into that. The coconut salt sea. I'm excited for that video and it's probably 4 months away. So make sure you're subscribed because that video will absolutely be coming. And I'm going to leave you all here. I hope you're having a great day and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone.